What's up? What's up? What's happening? It's yours truly, Javon Freeman, back with another one. I want to start this off by saying add the Instagram at the.o.m.experience. Give me a like, comment, share, subscribe. Even give me a dislike to let me know. It's anonymous, of course, but it'll let me know what the viewers are liking and what they're not liking. Also, want to say hit the Cash App, much appreciated. And shout out to every subscriber. I have 8 subscribers now. I was chilling at 7 for a while. I got 8. I appreciate every one of you. I think this one's going to be an interesting watch. I have not watched this one, but seeing everything that's going on in the federal government, this is something that I think is might be very, very good to watch. Especially when it comes to DOGE. It's, so many people are brainwashed, led astray. What's another term for condition? It's another word. It's on the tip of my tongue too. What is it? Oh man, it's all right. Anyway, a lot of people think that DOGE is a bad thing. It's really a great thing. The only people that are really making a fuss about this are Democratic politicians, politricksters, and that's because they're the largest recipients of all the crime and corruption going on in our federal government that we know is true. That the main ones that call out conspiracy, now that they're under the proverbial spotlight of what's going on, and I think a lot of people need to go with the program. DOGE is a great thing. Upset. I don't get it. People are upset that Elon Musk is having access to government employees who signed their life away with their John Hancock to the government and has their information. But you're not outraged that the IRS has your information. The IRS isn't a technical government entity. It was created on behalf of the banks. Anyway, what do I know? Let's get into this.
Lucas Tomlinson from the White House, thank you. President Trump is not the only one who wants to cut costs at the Pentagon. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says DOGE is more than welcome at the DOD.
We need to know when we spend dollars, we need to know where they're going and why. That's simple accounting, and that has not existed at the Defense Department. Every dollar we can find that isn't being spent wisely is one we can put toward warfighters. We welcome DOGE at DOD. We will partner with them, and it's long overdue. The Defense Department's got a huge budget, but it needs to be responsible.
Right. This has been fascinating. Guy, we'll start with you. There was this initial talk, or there's been talk, that President Trump has been talking about going after the Department of Education and trimming things there. And they say, if you really want to save money, go over after the military-industrial complex. And now the president, all the new heads are like, come on over, check us out, take a look at our books.
Yeah, I mean, I think the national defense is literally something that is required.
I just want to say this before we get too far into the video. I like that DOGE, Elon, and Donald Trump are working with such speed, but the consequences has to be dished out equally as fast, and here's why. Just because you put a spotlight on these people, the clock is ticking for them to even get rid of the information, get rid of the paperwork trails, and all that good stuff. And then when all the evidence is gone, how do you hold these people accountable? Right. I like the idea. I still think we need to keep our military strong because, again, people have already created the chain reaction, and we're at an inevitable point to where we can't have a weak military. We can't have a lackadaisical military. Because we've been shipping money and resources to other countries, and these other countries now have weapons, and we can't fall down the totem pole now. We created our own, right? Our own success will be our own demise. So now the best thing we can do is prolong our success for as long as we can, as best we can. Excuse me. Yeah, I like the speed at which they're working with, but consequences gotta get dealt out just as fast.
Required for the federal government to do. So that's a difference between defense and some of these other projects that people are pretending are more important than a core existential function of government. But that being said, I think everyone understands that not every dollar is placed correctly or wisely within the Pentagon. And the fact that you have the defense secretary saying, we agree, let's look under the hood, let's try to find some efficiencies and savings in the Defense Department, I think that's right. The Pentagon should not be exempt from this overall approach. You know, it strikes me watching some of the clips that we just played, specifically the one from Cory Booker, Senator Booker. He said, we're in a crisis. He used the word crisis. He didn't really seem to believe that, did he? We're hearing that word that I think gets abused and overused. The Democrats currently are trying to attach it to this situation of people going in and trying to find some savings within our government and calling it a crisis. And it feels kind of half-hearted, like they don't quite actually internalize that. They're using the word anyway, but I don't think a lot of people are buying it right now.
Yeah, and one of the challenges the Democrats have is what they have are words, because they don't have the power in the House, they don't have the power in the Senate. It'll be difficult for them to rein in some of this spending, although possibly they could have, their numbers could have some power in the Senate. But Charlie, what do you think?
Well, I think it's the opposite of a crisis. I mean, who doesn't want to uncover wasteful spending? I say, DOGE, come to my house, check out my bank account, because I'd love to know where I can cut corners. I don't think there's anyone in the world.
Fox News got some lookers. I will be honest. Salute. As a guy who's had his pick of the litter, still does. I'm only 24. I've had the opportunity to be graced with the presence of many women. I've worked in environments that were predominantly women, and women have, through conversation and behavior, have shown me a lot about women, which I'm grateful for. And this is women of all ethnic backgrounds. Many ethnic backgrounds, I will say. Fox got some lookers.
Who would say this is a bad idea, especially when you're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars like we are with the Department of Defense. I mean, Pete Hegseth has said he hopes in 4 years, not once, he hopes in 4 years that the DOD can pass an audit. Because so far they have not been able to historically. This is an area where there's tons of money that is being unaccounted for, hundreds of thousands of dollars being spent on widgets, tens of thousands of dollars on pens, hundreds of billions of dollars, again, unaccounted for. So
I'll never forget when the video came out about there was a hearing about the airliners, the military airliners, and how the bushing bearings that they were buying, one package was $1,000 or no, $10,000, but it only cost like $600 to make. And they were like, no, we have to buy the most expensive ones. Like, that shit was crazy to me. The planes still be failing and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, she's a looker. I ain't going to cap, but she look good to me. Fox got some lookers. Put me on a panel with one of them. Let me get back into this. Focus.
we've seen in the past some of the programming that the military has, gone down the road of spending for in terms of wokeism, and it's not pretty. $26 million being spent on trans surgeries within the military, for one example. So definitely ways to cut corners in a myriad of different ways.
Yeah, kudos to the Marines having their books in order, but as you mentioned, the Pentagon has some big goals. Joey?
Yeah, so the Marine Corps was able to pass an audit because they don't give us any money anyway. See, all the money goes to the Navy, and then they give us what little we need. Feed us, we're hungry. That's the Marine Corps.
Yeah, the Marines get shitted on, and everybody else gets to embezzle. It's just crazy.
Yeah, when you look at the overall federal budget, this is discretionary and mandatory.
Really treating grunts
there are
like
certain
grunts.
things like Social Security or Medicare that they don't have to fight over every year. They're mandatory spending. Those things are the largest, well over 50% of what the federal government spends. Then the next largest piece of the pie is defense. Then everything else is kind of small. So when you have, I forgot who it was, it might have been whoever was interviewing, I think it was Secretary Rubio, going, well, it's only 1% of the budget. Well, ma'am, 1% of trillions of dollars is a lot. It's a whole lot. It's a big portion of our tax dollars. The reason why this is so important to find these cuts now is they want to pass a big bill that has tax cuts in it, and President Trump would like to have those tax cuts to be forever, to not be sunsetted. The reason why you have to balance that with cuts is because a tax cut bill without balancing your spending is a spending bill because it creates interest, debt. And so this is all a part of the grander part, not grander scheme, but it's all a part of the policy decisions that Americans ask for. They ask for lower taxes. They ask to cut government waste. You have to do those in concert, or you'll end up just borrowing more money and costing us more money in the long run.
Yeah, and transparency. And then part of this has been some of the things we're learning about how American taxpayers are being spent. So that's been part of what's been so interesting. Biden might be gone, but communities are still feeling the effects of his border policies. The Los Angeles Unified School District and the New York City teachers unions.
All right. That could be for another video. Let me know what y'all think down in the comment section below. I think that was an interesting listen. How do you feel about our tax dollars being spent? Do you even care? Let me know something. Give me a like, comment, share, subscribe, add the Instagram at b.o.experience, and gift the Cash App. Grant me a little money. I appreciate it. Ciao.